Republican Senator Suzanne Collins thinks the $1,400 stimulus checks that are part of the next upcoming relief package are missing something important. Now, it's not the $600 check, $600 that we were promised if Raphael Warnock and Jon Ossoff won their elections in Georgia. No. Joe, where's our $2,000? But no, she thinks that it's actually missing means testing. Yes, good old means testing. She thinks it's not targeted enough. In fact, this happened during a call with Biden administration officials on Sunday. She said that the $1,400 in direct relief payments the president had proposed are not sufficiently targeted. Politico also reported late on Sunday that Collins, quote, pressed the Biden officials on why families making $300,000 would be eligible for direct payments under Biden's $1.9 trillion relief plan and urged to focus on lower income workers. So that right there is a bit of a misnomer. Okay, so the way that she sounds, she makes it sound like, oh my God, families making $300,000 or more are going to get $1,400. Oh my God, that's not good. But wait, no. If Biden models this direct payment plan after the Cash Act, only individuals with incomes of $75,000 or less, or couples with a combined annual income of $150,000 would receive the full $1,400 check. The payments would begin phasing out for those with incomes above those thresholds. Under the Cash Act, married couples with a combined annual income of $300,000 and 2 or more children would be eligible for a little bit of money, but not the full amount. So here's the thing. This might be a controversial opinion, okay? I'm fine if they get money. Oh my God, I'm fine if rich people get $1,400. Why? Well, it's not going to impact them all that much. And I'm okay. I'm also okay, and it always irritates me when Republicans especially make the disingenuous argument that we need means testing, okay? And corporate Democrats do it too. I'm okay if, for example, rich people go to a public college for free. Are they going to do that? No. Very unlikely. But if they want to, why not? Okay? And you think, but wait a minute, why are we paying for rich people to go to college? Well, here's the thing. Rich people can just pay more in taxes to balance that out, to cancel that out. Not only should they pay more in taxes than they do now, to not only cover themselves, but also to cover many, many more people. The whole plan is to get them to pay enough taxes, their fair share, that it actually takes care of the tuitions of many, many people, or in this case, the checks of many, many people, okay? That's why making things universal is actually really good. You can tax rich people in order to balance that out so that they're not getting freebies, okay? But see, here's the thing. The real problem that Republicans have with universal programs is that they're tough to get rid of. They're harder to get rid of than these means-tested, targeted programs. So, and the reason is because it's harder to divide people on universal programs, okay? It also, by the way, universal programs give you the ability to push for tax increases on the rich. Since they, of course, benefit from it, but don't actually need it, you can make the argument that they could just pay more in taxes to make up for it while still keeping the program universal. It also helps, by the way, if upper income people, say people making over $300,000 and they live in California, in New York, wherever, and they happen to fall on tough times. That happens. Middle class people, business owners, small business owners, restaurateurs, they've been going through a really hard time with the coronavirus, okay? And so if you make it universal and not base it on, for example, last year's taxes or 2019's taxes, which, you know, all these, the Cash Act and all that stuff is based on, yeah, you could have made $300,000 last year, or I'm sorry, back in 2019, but then in 2020 with the pandemic, you lost your business folded, and you don't have that income anymore. And now you're back to making, you know, $30,000 as a cashier or something, then yeah, you need that money, but you're not going to get it because of these means testing, because of all that. All right, so there you go. All right, so that's a good argument for making things universal and to stop with the ridiculous targeting, okay? It's also, by the way, easier to manage a program like this if it is universal. And in the case of the checks, you know, time is of the essence. These people need money right now. You can just get the checks out faster if you don't have to go through and figure out who's eligible and whatnot and all that, okay? So if you just send everybody a check, it just gets there faster. All right. Now, another point, too, that you can make, as I said, that tax, right? If you made good money in 2019 and you know, and you lost your job, and I'm sorry, I misspoke when I said 30,000 for a cat. Yeah, it's more like $18,000 a year, and in fact, 44% of Americans make about that per year. So if you went from making $200,000 a year to making $18,000 a year, or 36 with your family or your spouse has to work or whatever just to make ends meet, well then you're going to need that check. You're going to need a lot of help. And so that's why, of course, we have to do that universal approach. Now, to contrast this, right, her call to try to target this and not make it universal, we're going to talk about something else that Suzanne Collins absolutely had no problems with passing, and that was Trump's tax cuts. When you compare that, I mean, the difference is stark. In fact, according to an analysis by the Tax Policy Center, less than 1% of the benefits of the Cash Act would have gone to the top 5% of the income distribution. So that's why she's worried. She's worried about the 1%, right? Well, that's completely on brand for Suzanne Collins because, of course, the 52% of the benefits of the $1.5 trillion tax bill that Collins voted for back in 2017 went to the top 5% in 2020. So there you go. Weird. New York Times columnist Jamil Bowie tweeted this about that. Weird that Susan Collins didn't care so much about the rich people getting more than they need issue when it was the massive upper income tax cuts on the table. Of course. Yeah, well, obviously. We know what she's about. She's about giving more money to the rich. She's always been about giving more money to the rich. All right. Another criticism comes from Ashley Shaptel, a spokesman for Senator Juan Wyden. She noted that Senate Republicans' tax bill showered billions of dollars on actual billionaires, as opposed to a very, very tiny amount of this, universal whatever, or I'm sorry, of this stimulus bill, this $1,400 would go to wealthy people, even if it were not targeted at all. Notice, though, by the way, that any program that is meant to help regular people has to be means tested when it comes to these Republicans. And anything to help the rich, though, is given out very, very freely with abandon. But again, that's the point, right? To prevent these programs from actually becoming universal, like, for example, healthcare, like education, like a UBI. They have to make sure to get it as narrow a slice of Americans as they can, so it can never become a rallying cry among most Americans, and actually ends up pitting two different lower, middle class versus poor versus working class, whatever, against each other because one benefits and the other doesn't. And so that helps it to prevent it from becoming popular, and it makes it easier for politicians to, of course, shut it down. And that's the reality. That's what they want. We need actually way more than this package. We need, what we need is universal UBI, retroactive at the start of the pandemic, $2,000 a month. We need to, we need healthcare. We need Medicare for all. We need to cancel rents and mortgages. We need a massive package. And so, unfortunately, and I said massive package. So of course,
masturbate all day long.
All right, now that you got it out of your system, or I got it out of mine, let's get back to the reality, right? This is not enough. We need more. And economists are saying more. In fact, 1.9 trillion is well below what experts are saying is necessary to reverse what is going on with the economy right now. We need more. Back in December, Collins supported the $2,000 stimulus. It really shows you where Collins is at. She is absolutely a Republican. Of course, right? She's not a moderate. She's not in the middle. No, she's going to do whatever helps her and her party. And so that doesn't mean helping the American people at this point. But look, we need to do something now. Further targeting and means testing is going to waste a lot of time and water down any positive effect that any relief bill would actually have on the economy. But again, that's kind of the point. Because as I mentioned, Collins is a Republican, and Republicans right now have a vested interest in letting the economy tank because it will help them get elections in 2022. Well, I think what we need to do is we need to forget about Republicans who are not on board and do budget reconciliation. Cut them out. Do some legislating already, and don't try to court votes from the we hate legislation party. Okay? The anti-government, we want to break things party. That's what Republicans are. They're political nihilists. And that's what it is. Budget reconciliation, let's do it already. Let's do it. And so Bernie Sanders is budget, he's the chairman of the Senate Budget Committee. Let's go. Let's go. He's on cable news saying, send me a reconciliation package. Let's do it. Let's forget Republicans. And let's get something done for the American people. Now, of course, there could be a problem with that, too. Joe Manchin. Not all Democrats are good either. Now, Joe Manchin, for example, came out against the checks, but then backpedaled when he got pushback. So he can respond to pressure, and we need to be ready to push back against any Democrat who wants to stop the checks from going out without proper means testing. Because right now, the American people really need this relief. They can't wait for people like Suzanne Collins, to be happy. Let's get it done. Budget reconciliation, go. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf, or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.